Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the Troy Grand Experience Daddies Lounge. This is episode 6 for me now. Probably wondering what the hell is going on with that mask, man. I will get into that in a second. So, before I get into the topic at hand today is you are dating their mother, but you're not my children's father. Whew, I'm going to draw from a lot of personal experience on this one. I'm sure a lot of us had to deal with that, but I am going to draw from a lot of personal experience on that one. Definitely, definitely, definitely. But before I begin, as always, I like to tell a story or something that might lead into the topic of the day. So, well, what you want to hear first about this? Want to hear about this first? Hmm. That's a topic for another day. Well, I'm gonna tell you about it before the show goes off. But yeah, I got that in a class I had to take. Depending on who you ask, they say I have anger problems. I don't have anger problems. So anywho, I want to start off with a story today, man. Dogs. I I hated dogs for a long time. I just hated them. I got bit when I was 9 by a German Shepherd. Uh, this one guy in the neighborhood used to set his Doberman Pinscher after us and stuff, and it used to scare me. So as I got older, I stopped being afraid of dogs. If a dog would bite me or something, I would punch him, kick him, whatever it takes to let him know that you're not gonna do that again. You know. So one day my son was late for school, and I was like, "Come on, we got to go, man." So you know, we were walking to school, and there was a dog, a loose pit bull in the damn neighborhood. He was a loose pit bull, and he was showing his teeth and barking. And my son just grabbed onto me. I said, "Stay right there. Don't move and don't run." So I calmly walked over to the fence. The fence was broke, so I slipped the pole out of the fence. And I said, "Now come on and walk with me." He said, "You gonna hit the dog with that?" "If I have to, but we're not gonna have to because he's not gonna come after us." "Don't run. Don't run." What my son do? He was like 11. He took his ass off running all the way to school, all the way up the hill to school. And what's the first thing that dog did? He made a step. I said, "Hey, don't you go after my son." And we locked eyes, me and this pit bull, like this. All right. So I'm looking at the pit bull looking at me, like, "What you gonna do?" And I didn't flinch. I didn't move. Pit bull. Well, he walked away, and I went on my way. He went on his way. He did not follow me, and I kept that pole because I had to come back down from the school after I signed my son in. But if I wasn't there, because I really would have walked my kids to school that day, and the school's only 5 minutes away. His two brothers walked on their own. And it's him. He was the one who was kept saying he wasn't feeling well, but he was really just trying not to go to school. So, but the whole point of that story is if you run from a dog, he will chase you, and he will know that he has control at that point. You know you not. He'll know that you're afraid of him. You don't want to run from no dog. You want to stand your ground and let him know, hey, you a dog, but I'm a monster. And you're gonna get something if you come my way. Even if you get a good bite on me, I'm gonna take a piece of your ass too. And that leads into the subject matter of today. You are dating their mother. You are not their father. Yeah. So, so what does that dog story have to do with anything you're about to talk about today, Troy? Well, sometimes with some guys, because of their insecurities, you you got to stand your ground with them. A lot of it, you don't necessarily have to get aggressive. You just have to be firm enough to say, no, he ain't gonna. My sons don't need you. They have a father. You and my ex-wife dating, that's not my business. But as long as you gonna be around them, I'm gonna know your name. I'm gonna know what you look like, so I know who to come to if anything goes wrong. Right? Just that simple respect. So let's start from the beginning there, shall we? Okay, so start from the beginning. So we had this arrangement which I set up once me and their mom divorced. We had an arrangement, right? She would get them every other weekend, and the rest of the time they would me. Sometimes she was short, sometimes she was. Okay. So I'm in the house and with my sons, and we just get ready for dinner. And each of them has something to do with it. Make a salad, Kool-Aid, set the table. Each of them got something to do. So what I do is that we eat and then we have free time at the table. You could talk, tell me anything. I'm not gonna hold it against you, right? So both of them, all three of them, are looking at me like. I said, "What's up? Well, what do you? What's something wrong? Something happened? No. Uh, but what? Come on, man. What?" They said, "Oh, daddy, mommy got a boyfriend." Okay, mommy got a boyfriend. Yeah, and he lived with us. Whoa, no, well, he lives with her. He's over there when you go over there. Yeah, they sleep in the room together. I'm like, okay, well, that's really not my business. But how long you been going out? They've been going out for about 5 months, daddy. 5 months. First of all, how do y'all know the months, right? But she said about 5 months. And then, what's his name? He told me the man's name, and I'm like, she never mentioned it to me. Why she never mentioned it to me? Well, she told us not to mention it to you because you get mad. I would get mad. I'm mad now because I feel like I'm not mad because she's dating. I don't want you to think that. I love your mother because she's your mother, nothing else, right? So I said I'm not mad because she's dating anybody. I'm mad because it's disrespectful to keep me out the picture because I don't know this guy. What if something happens? I won't know what he looked like or anything. How y'all feel about him? All three of them. We don't like him. Why don't you like him? Cause he be walking around the house in his underwear, and sometimes he yell at mommy and stuff, and we can hit him in the room. I can't do nothing about that, but the walking around the house in the underwear and the yelling, well, the yelling's on her. It's not on me. But and then he said that. Then they said, yeah, your father too poor to take care of you. I'm gonna make sure that you all right. He said that. He said you're a punk too, daddy. No, he didn't. He did. Okay. Well, you know what I did? I got right in my car with my children and went right to her apartment unannounced. Unannounced. Just knocked on the door. She's like, what you doing here? I'm like, oh, I came to meet your boyfriend. And she looked past me and looked at them like, and I said, yeah. Can I, and I just put my foot in the door like a stubborn ass salesman and kind of used my elbow to just push my way in. Well, not really forceful, just enough to, because she wasn't going to slam the door in my face with the boys there. So I'm like, is he here? She's like, hey, he's in the bedroom. I'll go get him. You don't have to go get him. I'll walk right in that bedroom. I said, how you doing, brother? He said, yeah, Troy. I said, yeah, man. When he started talking to me, he's like, you don't remember me? We used to work at Kmart, and my cousin Mark. Hmm. I don't even remember him at all. But I know the cousin he was talking about. He's a good dude. So we started to, like, first thing out of his mouth, like, man, you ain't got to worry about nothing, you know. I love them boys like they my own, but I said, then I jumped in and said, nah, but they're not your own, they're mine. I don't, and I said, come out, get dressed, come out here. Let me talk to both of y'all, you and their mother. So I said it in front of both of them. I said, I don't care about your relationship. I really don't. But I'm their father. You should have introduced me to the man. I shouldn't have to come over here and exert myself like this, kind of force my way in and do all of this to meet him. That's disrespectful, you know. Because what if something happened? I don't know what this man look like, who he is, where he's from. You ain't got to worry about that, man. You know, I'm gonna take care. I said, you ain't gotta take care of nothing. You dating her. You are dating her. They have a father. I will tell them they have to respect. I said they will respect you. They will. Okay. But as far as this whole taking care of business and you loving them just like they're your own, they're not your own. And you don't need to take care of them. Boy, that irritated me every time he said it. Like, I said, you got kids, right? He said, yeah, I got about X amount of kids. I'm like, okay. Worry about your. I told him, worry about your children. I got these. They have a father. You're looking at him, you know. And I was like, you know, you should wear clothes when you're around the house too, even though they're boys. You can't be walking around in your drawers, man. I mean, well, you can't tell me how this ain't your house, partner. It's her house. I'm just asking you to do that when my boys are here. That's all. It's like, oh, okay, okay. And then I just didn't like him, his energy. I just, you know, when you feel that energy, and you know this guy's gonna be a problem, and he was an annoying ass problem. So fast forward now into the story. I know about the boyfriend, even after 5 months. And my children telling me she didn't bother to sit down and tell me nothing. So while I was at the house with her and him, I said to her, how would you feel if I was dating, I brought somebody around and moved them into my house and you didn't know? You found out from your sons. Well, that's not your right, Ali. You can't do that. You did it. You mean it's not my right? You doing this shit. You doing it. Oh, that's different. How? How's it different? Hmm? You talking about moving somebody into our house? It's in our house. The courts gave it to me. It's mine. You don't pay no bills, and it's mine. And that just went on for a minute. And he tried to intervene. I'm like, this ain't got nothing to do with you, man. Nothing. Wow. In these situations, you really just gotta relax your instincts. You really do, because natural instinct is to violate the personal space and let them know this is not your conversation. It really isn't. You know, the only reason why your shoes under her bed is because I'm not here, and you have all right to say that, to back him up. You know, and we're gonna get to that point. But I was so annoyed that the dude just kept trying to intervene. I was like, stop. This is between me and her, not you, me and her. You go back in the room, man. She got it. You know, she don't need you. There ain't gonna be no problems here. And if there was, it's a problem between parents, which you are not one of. So he went back in the room and he's like, just call me. She ain't gonna need you. That right there. That little slight right there. Call me if you need. She ain't gonna need you. I want to tell him, the fuck she gonna need you for? And I don't even curse all the time. What's she gonna need you? What do you want? What am I possibly gonna do in front of my three sons? What? What's she gonna do in front of her three sons? But anyway, as the story goes along, so I grabbed my sons up and I said, okay, now that I know, Uh, you know, and I asked them if their sister knew. She said, yeah, she don't like her, and she don't bring her baby over here either. Red flag. Your own daughter won't bring your grandson over there to because your boyfriend lives there. You have to go see your grandchild at your daughter's house. That's not a red flag? Hmm? That is a red flag. So I left on that note. I called, went home, and I explained to it. I sat them down. I'm like, look, I'm not angry with y'all. I was just your mom was very disrespectful because we're divorced, right? But that still doesn't mean I don't have the right to know who's going to be around you. Just like if I bring someone around here, here go the youngest one. You mean like that big pretty woman you had us in the car with, Daddy? I'm like, no, not like the big pretty woman. She's just my friend. She doesn't live with me. So, we could tell Daddy about the big pretty woman? Sure. She's just my friend. Well, how come your friend be giving us free shoes on her job? She worked at Payless Shoes and stuff like that. You don't have to tell your mama that much, do you? Well, you said, boy. But anyway, as I explained to them, her and I are not serious. We see each other off and on, and that's all I told them. They don't need to know nothing else at that age. So, uh, let's say a month goes by, or maybe a few weeks. A month goes by. I'm at the Boys and Girls Club. I'm at the rec center in my neighborhood with my son. She's supposed to be picking him up this Friday. So, sure enough, he's there. And he comes in with her. Well, he really should have kept his ass in the car. He didn't have to come into the rec center, man. So, I was like, my son was telling me that your boyfriend threw away the shoes I bought him and put these on his feet. Well, he just thought that they were better shoes. And you agreed with that? You agree with that? But but these are Nikes. I'm like, I don't care. It's okay. I bought them Shacks and Starberries. Okay, but yeah, you say, Troy, those are cheap shoes. No, they're all made in the same sweatshop in China. One of them costs $30. One costs 15. You're the only ones out here paying $100 and $200 for a $5 shoe. I'm paying 15 and $40 for a $5 shoe. Okay. So anyway, got him some whatever he got him, and I'm like, "Where's the shoes I bought him?" Hey, he comes, "Oh yeah, I threw them away, man. They can't be sending kids to school with shoes." I'm like, I looked at him and said, "That wasn't your right to do. I told you they have a father. That's me. You step in, you involving yourself where you shouldn't involve yourself." He's like, "But I cleared it with them. That don't mean nothing, man." So I was like, "Look, what if I was dating one of your baby mamas? She got a lot of daughters, and I did that to you. Took the shoes off your baby feet, your daughter feet, threw them away, and gave her whatever what I wanted to do. Now I'd be pissed. You're crossing the line. Oh, but you're not. You need to relax, man. Keep telling you that. I was like, relax. This is not where you belong. You're in her life. You're there in your life, but you're in her life. That's basically how I view things. They gotta respect you. You respect her and them, but you can't keep interfering when it comes to the parents. The parents have to be parents, regardless if she dating you or how you feel about it. You know. And we had one too many of these conversations, man. So, uh, my son was at football practice. He didn't have his mouthpiece in, and he got his teeth. He wasn't looking when he ran it to a pole or whatever and got his teeth knocked out. So I had insurance. They took care of it. So she pulled up at the school to drop them off, and I haven't seen my son since the at this time, since he got his teeth fixed. So I'm leaning into the car, and he's still in a little bit of pain. How you doing? I'm all right, Daddy. I'm just talking all slow. And so, no, it wasn't at school. She wanted me to meet them at this one spot where he's in a marching band, the boyfriend. This was years ago. So I went to meet him there, and his band was practicing. I couldn't really hear, so I was leaning into the car like, "What you say? What'd you say?" She was telling me some stuff about the insurance and everything else, and what he can't have and what he can't have as far as his teeth goes. And I'm like, "I'm cool." And I said, "Is he sick or anything like that?" She's like, "No, he hasn't shown any. He doesn't have a temperature or anything like that." Because sometimes when you go to the dentist, you swell up and you might get a temperature or something. So anyway, next thing you know, I felt this poke in my side. My first response when people touch me is to swing on them. That's just a natural response. But my kids were right there, and I held it. So then I talked to her. I just ignored. He said, "Come over here. I want to talk to you real quick." I said, "Hold on." I'm talking to her. So after I was done talking to her, I just looked at her like this dude don't this dude, you know, it's not gonna be this ain't gonna end well. So went around the corner with him, and funny enough, he walked me around the corner where his people were, the band. Let me explain something to you. Everybody knows hesitance and no fear, but if you walk upright like me, what's the worst you could do but kill me? Life and death are twins. So what's the worst that you can do to me? Okay then. So I told him, look, man, don't put your hands on me again. But nah, but you all leaned up in her face and shit. He said, don't. I said I was talking to her about my son. And don't put your hands on me no more, partner. All right? You need to relax, man. Don't touch me again. Like, what you gonna do? I said, what you gonna do? I said, look, man. I know you got your people out here or whatever, right? Your band, but what do you think is gonna happen here? You're gonna have to kill me. Don't go no other way. I got something to die for, my children. I got something to live for, my children. What are you what are you doing this for? Something I already had? Ooh, that pissed him off. Good. And I said right to his face. No, I went back to the car. And I said while he's sitting in the car, I looked directly at him and I said, I don't like this cat. You need to control your dog. That's what I said to her. He ain't got no manners, he ain't got no respect. And the only reason why his shoes are under your bed is because I choose not to be there. And she didn't correct me or anything, and he was just looking at her like, "You gonna let him say that?" And I'm like, man, I really don't even want him around my children, man. And from that day forth, he would just say some stupid stuff to my kids and all that. But you never say anything to me talking about, yeah, your daddy act like he tough and all that, with his heart problem. You punk. Okay. Not when it comes to them. Not at all. So we never got along. I did my best to stay away from him. And the one time I stuck my foot in the door again, I went. His, my ex-wife called me and said my son was sick, had a fever. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go over there and see him. She's like, no, no, he's fine over there with whatever her boyfriend name was, right? So I said, no, I'm still gonna see he has a fever, right? She said, yeah. I said, yeah. See, when he gets a fever, he get dehydrated, and he don't know what to do with him, but I do. So I'm gonna go pick him up and I'm gonna bring him to my house, and I'm gonna take care of him and let him stay with. I know it's your time now, but let him stay with me until he get better. All right. So she was like, no, no, don't go over there. Wait till I get off work. I'm like, he could be dead by the time he get off work, because this dude don't know how to take care of him. So I wasn't gonna wait for her to get off work at 4, and here it is noon. So I go over there. I knock on the door. And she called him and told him not to let me take my own son. I said, give me my son, man. I even put my foot in the door. And then at that moment, I said to myself, I'm on parole. And really, I was weak as hell because of my heart, so I didn't even stand a chance. Even though that really wouldn't matter, is I didn't want to go back to jail again. So you know what I did? I felt like a punk doing this, but what I did was I called the police. I told him I'm that child's father. He came to the door, my son. The police said, "Well, let him talk. Let us see him." So as soon as he came to the door, he's like, "Hey, Daddy, I don't feel good." I said, "You been throwing up?" He said, "Yeah." "And you weak?" I said, "Yeah. Give me my son. I gotta take him home. He's not gonna last if I leave. If I leave him." And they looked at him. So they were like, what have you been giving him for? He says salt water, warm salt water. Why in the hell would you give a sick child with a temperature salt water to dehydrate him? Why in the hell would you do that? Immediately, I was just lost it. Like, what the hell? And amazingly, she got off work early because he called her and was like, "Yo, the police are here," because he called the police to take his son. And she was like, "Well, he's gonna stay with me." And the police are like, "No, he's not. He's gonna go with his father. His father seems to know what he's know how. Who do you want?" They asked my son, "Who do you want to go with?" My father. So, in 1 day or 2 days, I got him better. But the fact is, I shouldn't have to go through him to get to my son. All I had to do was have a conversation her, with her, and then she would just have to tell him, "Oh, get him ready. His father's coming to pick him up." End of discussion. Not call him and say, "Don't let him take his son, even though he's sick and you don't know how to take care of him and he might die." That's just a few things I went through. That's a few with him. Mm. Yeah, there's a few things I went through with that dude, man. Didn't like him. Didn't like him at all. And the bad thing is, usually her family would always have Thanksgiving together, right? So her sister was like, "He can't come to my house, 'cause that's where Thanksgiving usually is. Yeah, you can't come to my house." And I was like, "Really? I'm your ex-husband, and I can still go around your family. I can still go around your family and have fun and everything. And this dude can't come. He's your new boo. Red flag." But and then we're gonna get off the personal stories now. We'll just talk now. I just want to tell you that because it'll make you understand that I do know about this subject. Because a lot of times, a dude like that will make you end up in jail, and then your kids could be scarred for life because you let your anger get the best of you. Because when he touched me, I swear to you, everything in me, my first response was to hit him with a left hook to the kidneys. That was my first reaction. I saw them damn kids in the back of the car. They were like, "Always with the no, Daddy." Wait a minute, how would that look? Me and him fighting in front of the kids. But when I knew he was a punk, when he took me, I saw him want to talk to you man to man. He took me to by his band members to have a talk. Let me tell you something. I don't bother nobody when they and their children. That's crazy. That's a death sentence. Don't do that. But hey, don't do that. That's a death sentence. But this situation here, when you're the mother of your child starts dating child, whatever, starts dating a dude who's just out of pocket a lot. They try to say he's doing it for the kid. He loved to kill all them kids. He like what he's getting. My advice to the you fathers, no matter what position you're in, how old you are, is to not let your anger get the best of you, because If that happens, you're gonna lose time with your children, or worse, or worse. You could lose forever. It takes 60 seconds to throw your whole life away. And I had to think about them things, even though to this day I still feel like a punk because I didn't go head up with them or nothing like that. I wanted to, but I just didn't. But 60 seconds I could have threw my whole life away and never see my children again. Give that some thought before you react. Give it some thought. This situation, you don't move with your heart because that pride will kick in and say, yo, this man is violating, man. And then you want to go, you want to put hands on him at foots. Yeah, that's right. I said foots. Worse than that, you might want to go to trunk on the brother. And then that's it. Once you do that, you scar your children and you take yourself away from them forever. Remember that. 60 seconds, life. Or 60, 60 or 1 minute for 20. 1 minute for 20 years. You want to do that? No. This is why, if you can't talk to the man, you definitely got to have a conversation with your child or your children and let them know. Communicate if you're feeling uneasy, try and communicate that with your mother. See if you could sit down with your mother and try and communicate that and ask her to just communicate it to him. If that don't work, just let your mom know I don't feel comfortable coming over with him here. Can I just like spend more time with my father's house and you come see me over there or something? You know, think about that. Work something out because no child should feel uncomfortable going over their own mother's house because of some man. Yeah, you shouldn't feel uncomfortable saying I'm going to. It should be like I'm going to mommy house now. We going to mommy house? Like damn, it's like that over there. A lot of times I didn't. I had to call her and be like, look, I don't think I'm bringing them over. But she's like, why? They don't want to come. They don't want to come because your boy there. Oh, you mean my man? I said it like I said it, your boy. So shit. This is when I want some people on the panel so we can bounce off each other. And the more I talk about this, the more uneasy I get. Brings up too many memories. Hmm. Them kids shouldn't have gone through that. I shouldn't have went through that. You know. Other than that, you gotta when you start dating, one thing you have to always do. This goes for the father, and still respect her enough to say this person and I are together, and we might be spending more time together, or we live together. I wanted you to meet her, so you can't say that you don't know who's around, who I'm bringing around your child or children. Okay? Hmm. Because if you don't, it's gonna be madness. Disrespect is a powerful, powerful thing. I'll grab you like this. They won't let go. Lock jaws on you. They ain't gonna let go of nothing. Then there's the other thing to think about. The real elephant in the room is the children. Why would you want to bring someone around them and not let them see you sit down with the father of the child? Why would you do that? Hmm. I can't I can't tell you how, in a sense, how wicked and shallow that is. And all it does is cause a problem because then the children will be like, Daddy, how come mommy didn't tell you about so and so and so and so? I'm like, I don't know. Well, how come you introduced mommy to Miss Johnson? Hi, Miss Johnson. It's because your daddy a plumber. You feel that joke in. Plumbers, pipes, fill it in. Ha ha ha. Kids aren't stupid, no matter what age they are. You think they don't get it, but they do. They're a product of their environment, so they pick up things fast. Some pick up things faster than most, some don't. You know, and you do them, a very unjust thing when you don't respect them enough to get along. Well, you don't even have to get along just to be respectful enough with each other. Because once they see everybody being respectful, and don't take that the wrong way. You don't have to love the person or like the person. Be respectful, right? And then in them watching this, they're gonna remember all these things. So when they get older, their first instinct would be to be respectful instead of being like, man, you know, get out of here, get out of here, man. Nobody want nothing to do with you. That's not gonna be their first response. Respect is important, man, especially in these situations because in all reality, man to man, I didn't want that cat around. Not because he was with her, because I could tell that he wasn't worth anything, and he gonna be a problem because he was insecure. Even though he was a big dude, I made him feel small because I'm the father of all four of her children, four, and we were together for about 20 years. So he can't say nothing to me. He can't say nothing to me at all. Nothing. I'm his walking nightmare. I'm the one he's got to be afraid of. All the kids are mine. I know more about her than you'll possibly ever know. I just don't say nothing. And then just keeps going from there. It just rolls downhill from there. I really don't know how to tell any other father to be patient in this situation. I don't, but it's in your best interest. It's in your best interest. I know that dragon's in you, that heat, that fire breather, that monster, but you don't want to get into a situation here. Trust me, you don't. Hmm. Because you can't be a father if you're not there. You really can't. And if you put yourself in a situation where you get locked up, incarcerated, whatever the case may be, he's still gonna be there. The only difference is, yeah, he has nothing holding him back now because you're not there to draw the line in the sand and say, "Don't cross this line. Don't you dare." Now he can do what he want to do because you gave him that freedom. You feel me? Okay. Man, I hated rehashing some of that stuff. And why did I hate it? Not out of jealousy, out of what looking in my kids' eyes. They never liked going over the house when he was there. I don't know if they just didn't like him. They weren't afraid of him because when anything did happen, they definitely would have told me, and I would have went right up over there. So, but for a bunch of kids to be uneasy from the age of 12 all the way to 9, that's not a good thing. And their mother should have picked up on that and asked them the same questions I did. Why are you so uneasy? We don't like him. He don't treat you right, and he always he don't work nowhere. They would have told her because that's what we did at the dining room table. Everybody got a free pass to say what they wanted to say. Say what you want to say. But look, let me tell you the story about this. Change subjects for a little bit. This thing here, right? So I had to take an anger management class. And first of all, what do you see when you look at this mask? What do you what do you see? I see rage and sadness. That's why I didn't color it. So I had to take an anger management class back in the day. Don't ask. Story for another episode. So I took the class for 6 weeks, something like that. 6 weeks. And one of the assignments we had when in class with this mask is to paint it whatever color you think your anger is or rage. I left it blank. Teacher was like, "Why'd you leave yours blank, Mr. Graham?" I'm like, "Because my rage doesn't have a color. My anger definitely doesn't have a color. It's all over the place." So she's like, "Oh, so white white represents kind of like white hot with you, just stay burning, huh?" I said, "Okay, if you can, that's a good analogy. Sure, I might have to put you in a different class then, Mr. Graham." No, please don't put me to no different class. But you said you stay angry all the time. This class is for people dealing with their anger, not staying angry. I might have to move you. Is it because I was, so I said, is it because I was flirting with you? Did you go home and tell your wife I was flirting with you? And yes, she was married to a woman. She said, "You see, that's why, that's why I really wanted to let you go because you flirt." I told you I was married. I said, "Yeah, you're married to a woman. And I respect that." "Oh, I see, I see. You're not coming out and saying it," she said, the teacher. I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "That's even more disrespectful. I'm definitely getting out of my class." And she laughed. And she said, "Yeah, you need to work on that anger. Do you write or anything?" I said, "Yeah. I write songs, poems, plays. I could do it. You know?" And that's how my anger is like that. Like this mask here. It's just, it doesn't change color. It's pretty steady. Pretty steady. Just stays steady. Frightening. This thing's kind of frightening after a while. So yeah. And because I'm such a steady person, is why I was able to deal with their mother's boyfriend. You know, because that's why. Mm, sorry, my toe burning. That's not a good sign. But anyway, that's why. Because if I didn't have that control or anything, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to whoever's listening. I'd be gone, just gone. I think about that too, because that would have been one hell of a journey. Would have been one hell of a journey. Losing all that time with my sons. Hmm. Wouldn't have been happy with that. But look, I've been on here for almost an hour. Told y'all the story about the other boyfriend and all that and how I had to deal with it. I could just leave you with this. In trying to save your children from something or someone, do not defeat the purpose. Think, move with, if you have to move with force, but make it purposeful force, meaning where you can see them again the next day. Okay? And that is the best advice I could come up with at this time. Because our first response is just to burn everything to the ground and destroy everything when it comes to the kids, especially if you have a daughter. My. Wow. But what would you have done in this situation? Leave a comment, press like and share, and let me know. Okay, what would you have done, or what have you done in this situation? Because it's not an easy thing to deal with. It really isn't. You try your best to be a good father, and then the devil intervenes and said, "Well, I'm gonna give you one of my chaos demons. I'm gonna test your faith, Job. But you stand strong and say, no matter what happens here, no matter what happens, I shall not allow you to destroy me and take me away from these children because they need me. They don't need you. Not so long as I'm here." Say it again. I say it again. I don't need you. I don't need you. They don't need you either. Okay. Y'all have a blessed day. Let me jump off here. I'm enjoying this, man. This riding this out to where it's gonna go. Hmm. I'm enjoying it. But I really need to get that off my chest, I guess. I could have got deeper into that story, but I figured I shared enough. I shared enough. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Good weekend. Good weekend. All right.